Feliz. When I start to talk and so on, you can take care of admitting people into the room. I have you. You are a co-host, so you can take care. And also, if someone asks something, I don't know, in the questions, okay?
Yeah, I was taking care of the chat and all the people. Correct.
Perfect. Thank
And
you.
I can also take some.
Okay, great. That's excellent. Okay, because I'm going to share my screen, so I am a bit to control the. Hello to all the participants that are joining us. We are slowly admitting everyone. So we will start in about yeah, two minutes, so everyone can join the room. Mhm. Okay. More people is joining us. Okay. We are going to give 1 more minute and then we are going to kick the session. So we have time to discuss the topics and the speakers have time for their presentations. Mm. Okay, I think we are going to start. Then my colleague Ferit will be admitting participants and so on, so it's fine. So, welcome everyone to a new series of our sectoral skills webinars. My name is Alicia Gaban, and I'm the Communication and Project Manager of EARLALL, the European Association of Regions and Local Authorities in Lifelong Learning. That today we are organizing this webinar. I'm really happy to be introducing this webinar. I will be facilitating the different technical aspects. And I'm happy because this year, EARLALL is celebrating its 25th anniversary of a long journey focused on skills development, learning, innovation, cooperation through our different regions and local authorities. This is one example of the activities that we are doing. We are organizing sectoral skills webinars to understand what are the skills and challenges and opportunities in different sectors. And today we are going to talk about clean energy. I'm not going to moderate. I will introduce you in a minute, the moderator. I'm just going to give you some guidelines for today's session runs smoothly. So please, as you might know, we have to mute ourselves, remain yourself so we know who is in the room and from where. We will be taking some screenshots and we will be recording the session as you have seen, and we will be sharing the presentation after this event. Indeed, we will have some Q&A sessions after the presentation of each speaker, but you can, along the event, you can post your questions also in the Zoom chat. So then we can share this with the different participants and speakers. So with further ado, I would like to introduce you our chair of the Working Group on Skills and Labor Market, the working group that is leading this activity, Oscar Martorell, who is the head of vocational education and training in Catalonia Regional Ministry of Education. He will be moderating today's session. So with further ado, Oscar, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Alicia, and good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to moderate today's session. Today's webinar is a part of EARLALL working group series of sectoral webinars exploring skills needs across key economic ecosystems, as Alicia said. The clean energy sector is a priority for European institutions, and it is not only central to the green transition, but also linked to industrial innovation, energy security, and regional development. Across Europe, regions are facing major transformations driven by renewable energy systems, but at the same time, these transformations are creating significant skills challenges, such as shortages of qualified professionals or rapidly evolving competence needs. This is why today we will see how skills intelligence, anticipation of labor market needs, and lifelong learning policies are becoming strategic priorities across Europe. We are very happy to bring together today experts from different European institutions, regional authorities, training providers, and sector initiatives. As you can see in the agenda, there will be two sessions. One first session focused on European skills, intelligence, and policy priorities on the clean energy transition. And the speaker will be Jasper van der Loo, the coordinator on the BED department and skills of the European Center for the Development of Vocational Training. Today, he will help us to frame a little bit the broader European perspective on skills challenges linked to the clean energy transition. After this first session, there will be a session more focused on regional perspectives, and the talks will be given for different experts from different points of Europe. And as you can see, there is Goat Kornberg from Vestland country, Norway. There is Marta Estrada from Catalonia. There is Lena Müller from Germany, and there is Hans Vogelberg and Johan Benston from the region of Västra Gotland. With further ado, I give the floor to Jasper van der Loo, our first speaker. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Oscar. Also, thanks, Alicia, for the introductions. So today, the first presentation is about setting a little bit more the broader scene, the trends that we see in Europe. And I'm just going to share my presentation. So if someone could give me a hands up when it's visible.
Not yet. Normally you
Okay.
now is yeah, now it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So I called my presentation Unleashing the Learning Revolution because it's very obvious that Europe needs a lot of investment in skills and learning. And the perspective that we often take at Zetterfold is skills intelligence, because skills intelligence actually tells us in what skills we need to invest, in what sectors, and in what jobs. So in the first part of the presentation, I'll be a bit more general, and then I'll zoom in into the renewable energy sector towards the end. Right, so the big picture is basically for us, when we look at it and we look 10 years ahead, a very important mega trend is accelerating skills upgrading. So we see in our skills forecast, which you see here on the left side of the slide, shows that when we look to 2035, jobs will become much more skills intensive. So there will be fewer jobs for people with low or no skills, and 43% of jobs will require an academic or a higher vet diploma. But also 1 in 3 jobs will still require a medium-level vocational qualification. And very important to point out that higher-level skills can also be vocational. In many countries, actually the case that there are extensive systems and programs for higher vocational education. Now, of course, forecasts are never an image of what happens by itself. We incorporate in our forecast the EU policy framework and its targets, such as the European Green Deal and the digital policy agenda. So basically, in order for this to happen, we cannot just wait and see for things to happen. Lots of things, need to take place. For example, when we look at digital, we still see major and urgent skills gaps. And basically, if we want to meet our targets, which are actually not that high, these targets, we would need to invest in the digital skills of 90 million Europeans, 90. That's a lot of people. Another pressing issue that we see actually is adapted in the talent pipeline for young people, where we actually are facing enormous shortages in many sectors, as you all know. The completion rates in upper secondary vet can be quite low. So in natural sciences, it's only 60%. Now, if you look at the females that are in vet programs for ICT, only 47% of young females completes the program. So it's not only about putting more people into programs or putting more young adults into programs, it's also making sure that people finish the program with a qualification. I think that's an important message that many people often forget. And now, of course, we should not look at young people, and your meeting here is very much about adults. So, of course, at Zetterfold, we recognize very much that the skills revolution is about meeting the skill needs of adults that are already in employment today. And at Zetterfold, we try to use surveys to listen to workers to understand how they experience change and what skill challenges they face. Now, some of the headline findings, we see that half of European adult workers needed digital upskilling in 2021. And if we asked again a few years later, we now see that 3 in 5 workers, for example, needs AI skills. At the same time, we see that training participation is too limited. Only 1 in 7 workers trains for AI. And if you ask workers if they have suitable training opportunities or if they have the information they need to find training that works for them. Actually, a large majority doesn't have that. So those are really key bottlenecks, I think, that are also driving the problems that we see on our labor markets. And when we look at digital training itself, if you look at the people that actually get trained, actually 49% of the training that's followed is 1 week or less to upskill for the most used technology. That's quite a modest investment. Now, the other side of the skill mismatch puzzle is, of course, underused potential, because we see that while there's people that need a many skill needs, at the same time, there's a lot of underused potential, because we see that in many jobs, there are opportunities to improve skills utilization. So we find that there are opportunities to better use the skills, talents, ideas, and the ambitions that people have. That also means for policy is an important conclusion that this inclusive skills revolution that we want for adults, but also for younger adults, for older adults, it means investing in skills and in quality jobs that give opportunities. And now, of course, learning is much more than participation in training alone. And we try to actually at Setafel to understand what is how do people learn at work, and of course we already talked about formal training of firm sponsored on the job training. That is part of it, but if you look at this figure on the screen, it's actually just a minor part of it. And people learn from much more than formal training or on-the-job training. They learn from colleagues, from supervisors, by trying out new things, by watching others, and also by reflecting on their own performance. Now, the paradox here is that we can easily think of incentives for firm-sponsored training. Think of money, time, career progression, but not enough is happening actually. What we see here is that more than half of all workers never participate in firm-sponsored formal training or on-the-job training. Now, if you want to think about the incentives for learning-rich workplaces, so all these other types of work training, this is much harder to map out. They're often a combination of giving people agency, autonomy, and shaping workplaces as learning places. Such a learning is happening much more than firm-sponsored training, but there are nevertheless many workplaces where adult Europeans only rarely or sometimes learn while working. The message is clearly that apart from formal and on-the-job training, we also have to invest in workplaces that give people a broad range of learning opportunities. So Europe needs a skills revolution. This is obvious not only from our research, but also what's going on in the overall policy context. And that skills revolution is a combination of investment in initial skilling, upskilling, reskilling, and investing in quality jobs that use people's potential. And the union of skills actually puts that revolution in the spotlight. Now, of course, an important question is what skills and what profiles we have to invest in, how to shape jobs. Of course, there's always trade-offs that need to be made. There's not unlimited resources. There's not unlimited time. And so it's a very important question to try to understand what skills we need to invest in for transitions, green, digital, but also the demographic transition, which is becoming more and more visible in many countries. So that is actually where our skills intelligence comes in. And you see here on the slide the different skills intelligence tools Setafel offers, which we have been developing over 25 years. So some of the highlights here, already we looked at the skills forecast, which looks a decade far ahead. We also have short-term skills anticipation. We have web-based skills intelligence, which looks really at what is happening inside jobs by looking at millions of online job ads. We have foresight, which is a more qualitative way to look at emerging trends. And then we also support countries to actually improve their skills intelligence systems. And so if we look at the helicopter view of skills intelligence in Europe, we see that there have been quite strong improvements, but there are also some really stable things which stay the same. Basically, there's trade-offs if you want to be precise in your skills and intelligence and representatives. This often comes at the cost of time. This requires a survey, and it takes typically a long time between doing the survey and getting the results. We can be faster with web data and try to transfer this into skills intelligence, but that typically comes at the cost of representativeness. The second truth is that mismatches go far beyond shortages and gaps. It's not only about what's missing. Apart from deficits, there's also surpluses, which we saw earlier, such as overqualification and skills underutilization. And the third truth is that, especially with rapidly emerging technology, we will often need to combine quantitative and qualitative information to fully understand what is happening on the labor market and what that means for skills. So, no single method says it all. In practice, we typically need to blend skills intelligence sources and methods to comprehend patterns and trends. And here is a little bit of an overview of the outcomes of foresight, so a qualitative approach to understanding the green transition. And we actually talked to experts in cities, in the waste management sector, in agri-food, and in the circular economy. And I think that the main message here is that many jobs that we might not see as or view as traditionally green actually are green. So the green transition is much more than the frontline green jobs, such as energy professionals, but also solar panel installers and the green tech specialists, which actually invent solutions and which are also crucial for upscaling technologies. There's a large part of green jobs which are, for example, green management. So we need managers for the green transition. Digital is crucial because often when you want to achieve something green, you do it via digital. And then there's a lot of jobs which actually try to change people's behavior, HR specialists, but also specialists that understand consumers and know how to change your behavior, trainers that help companies become more smart with waste, and citizen engagement specialists, for example. So the green transition is really a very broad phenomenon that affects jobs basically wherever you look. And a little bit about the sector we talk about today. So actually, when we look at the green skills, and this is based on millions of online job ads that we collect more or less continuously, those green demands, skill demands are highest in the energy and related sectors. So on the right side, you see here by sector, green pervasiveness, which is the share of jobs with at least one skill. So we look at for every sector, how many jobs do have at least one green skill. And actually it's highest in construction, in mining, in technical engineering and R&D, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply. And then you have the public utilities such as water supply, sewage, etc. Those are the sectors where really green skills are concentrated. And also, I mean, what we do with our data, and it's quite unique, we try to understand what kind of jobs are trending, what kind of jobs are maybe phasing out or less trending. So in the latest data we have is the fourth quarter of 2025. You see there that renewable energy engineers, solar energy technicians, renewable energy sales representatives, and wind turbine technicians are basically the most wanted profiles across Europe. This concerns the whole of Europe. This data is also available by country, by region even. So you can go to our web tool, which is called Skills of 8 at Cedefop's website, and you can do things, you can try out things for yourself and understand a lot of indicators of the green transition. Okay, a little bit of a preview of a briefing note that we'll have out very soon. And we are looking quite in detail at the jobs of renewable energy professionals. And that's actually not as easy as it might sound, because you might be aware that the data classification that we use for occupations is ISCO, the International Classification of Occupations. The last update of ISCO was in 2008, and actually an update is ongoing at the moment. But you can imagine that the classification that we use is quite outdated because many green jobs and also many green energy professional jobs were not even available in 2008. So what we need to do here is we need to be a little bit smart. And what we actually did is we looked at categories that are kind of rest categories in occupation. So we call them not elsewhere classified. So those are jobs where you cannot really attach a label, but we know that many of those jobs are actually green energy jobs. Now, if you look here, and I put as an example the profiles for renewable energy professionals. I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit small, but here's this map of different skills and different occupations. Actually, the message here is that really there's a large hybridization of jobs for renewable professionals because they need, of course, the foundational technical skills. They need also the up-to-date knowledge of different renewable energy technologies, but then also regulatory awareness to ensure compliance with all kinds of regulations, strong management skills to manage the project, soft skills, people skills, effective communication, multidisciplinary teamwork, strong problem-solving skills, also to adapt to emerging technologies. Actually, this policy brief is in production. We'll have also more information about the specific uh, jobs and skills profiles of installers, commissioning technicians, maintenance technicians, and cybersecurity professionals in that policy brief coming up. So maybe that's something I can also share. When it's out, I'll put EARLALL in tag it so that you can see it. Right. A little bit towards the conclusions. What we see generally when we look in our green work is that green skills intelligence, I mean, it's an emerging field, and we still have lots of improvement opportunities to track better the trends in green occupations, and not only the occupations that we always think of, but also especially those occupations that support the green transition, such as managers and specialists for consumer engagement, etc. We clearly see that there's a need to scale up VET for clean tech occupations, and that is especially also relevant for adults because many of the adults need to move from um, let's say, the traditional sectors to the renewable sectors. Um, in general, we also need to map, of course, the skill gaps. That's crucial to understand where we need to invest, but it's as important to also map the overlaps between occupations, because if you understand how occupations overlap, the next step is to design, let's say, a transition pathway for a person to move from one occupation to another. And three more conclusions: modernizing qualifications and credential systems to enable worker mobility. We see very good initiatives and innovative ways of doing that in several countries at the moment. Ireland is one of them, but they have a very good system for micro credentials, really focused on the green transition. And then of course, regions that need to transform and become less reliant on carbon energy, for example. There's a lot of work to be done into actually reskilling many workers. And an overall message is that digital as a driver, but also the interdisciplinary skills, the soft skills, those are really things that need to be on the agenda when designing the training programs that we need to make really the green transition a success. I would like to stop there, and I hope we have some time for a few questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jasper, for this talk. It has been very, very interesting, and it gave us a very good big picture on the European situation about clean energy sector. So now, if someone wants to ask something, maybe on the chat or.
I haven't opened the chat.
Yeah, there is no question.
There is
Okay.
no questions for the moment. No, maybe the talks will keep moving, and then there will be new question tracing
Mm.
probably.
Can I ask
Okay.
you a question?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
An
I
open
would.
questions for everyone. For
Yeah, an
everyone.
open question for everyone. What kind of information that you currently don't have, you would like to have to better deal with understanding the skill needs in your sector?
This is a very good question. Maybe from this question we can have some answers on the chat, and then to understand the gap between the sector and the needs. Yeah.
Sure. Maybe people need to think about it a little bit and they can write in the chat. Sure.
Yeah,
you
also
send-
our speakers, regional speakers, maybe they can reflect on that question.
Exactly. We can open a little bit of debate. So please send your answer on the chat, and we
I'll
will
put the
keep
question
reviewing.
also in the chat so that it's easy.
Perfect. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Jasper. Thank you very much.
I have one question.
Okay.
Because this week I was actually in Turku visiting a shipyard that they are building big boats and so on. And actually, they were mentioning that for making a difference between the blue collar and the white collar that works in the shipyard, they are seeing the future, like the AI, for instance, you are always mentioning a lot of the AI, is not going to change that much the sector. Maybe it will change the white collar, how they design and so on. But for then, in the end, for instance, the boats are going to keep be built by the hands of the blue collar. So I thought that from coming from a company, it was a really strong message. Maybe it's more a reflection than a question, but I know that Sedafop is really looking into this AI and how it's affecting jobs. And coming from a company and seeing their perspective, I found quite interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, we all we're not doing it in the energy sector, but we do it in different sectors that I think can give a good impression. You know, we do foresights we've done it in the automotive sector, which is also a production sector, in geriatric nursing, and also in creative industries, which are all the different profiles. And generally, we see that, and most often when you talk about AI, in many applications. The point is to actually improve productivity along with human insight. So this is often the most important point. So we see that AI in several jobs has strong effects on tasks, but it's at that level where the most effect it's less an issue of job destruction. So it's about destruction, which then means that you also open up opportunities to do different things in your job, because you have more, uh, let's say, more energy, more time to actually combine your innovativeness with the tools that AI offers. It's a complex problem. Also, I think it's an issue where also there's a lot of potential to arrange it in a way that benefits in the end workers, because I mean this whole AI transition is also, I think, that the policy framework is all about making sure that this is human centered, so that we actually try to avoid the scenarios where uh, there's over, this algorithmic management and things like that. There's complications with that. There's also things that link very much to deteriorating working conditions. So I think that's very important that we keep in mind that we need to be smart with this technology, and we also need to make it something that really supports people, and it doesn't really is a threat only to people, and a job destructor.
Yeah, humans will be still at the center. That is
Yeah.
not the
Yes,
getting
that's
away.
all the evidence so far. I mean, of course, it's something that's very in flux at the moment, and we see that things are changing. At the same time, also let's keep in mind that for some jobs, it will be a radical thing, but it's not. We had an image about 10 years ago that half the jobs would be gone. Definitely, that is not on the horizon at all.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So now that we're on time, we will be moving to the second session of the webinar. This second session is focusing regional examples. So different regions across Europe will show us different initiatives in clean energy sector. Today's regions are Baslan County, Catalonia, Baden-Württemberg, and the region Västra Our first speaker is Gaute Kornberg. He's a project manager for one COVE project called H2 COVE project that is focusing hydrogen technologies, one of the main sectors of the clean energy sector. Please, start your presentation. We're very happy to have you here with us.
Thank you, Oscar. I am now at present in Portugal on travel, but I will perhaps share my presentation because there were some technical aspects of during my sharing. I hope I
The
haven't
text and
used.
everything is there. It's just that there are some images that they are not featured, but the rest is there. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what you can see now. Can you see the entire presentation now, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm sharing. So
Yeah. Okay. Then it works. Hi everyone. Thank you very much to Alicia, Oscar for inviting me. It's also I can just start on a little bit of a happy note. I'm very fascinated when I'm traveling around in Southern Europe on the different ways to hear my name. So I will start from the beginning. My name is Gaute Kornberg, and I work at the Vestland County Council here in Norway, and are the project manager for H2 Cove. And as you see on the map, this is where the regions we are working together in this European project is Westland, and then is northern Netherlands in the Groningen area. I butchered that name. I don't speak Dutch, sorry. And we have the Tyrol in Austria, and we have the entire country of Estonia, and then we have the Ivano-Frankivsk region, oblast in Ukraine. And what's very special with our cove is actually to have Ukrainian partners as part of this European project. They have a limited participation due to their circumstances, which I hope everyone can understand. But they want to use hydrogen education as part of their industry sector to rebuild their country after the war. And this is some competences and skills they need for that, and they hope they can learn a lot from European project, but also from the different hydrogen education across Europe. Let's see, how do I? There we go.
Gaute, maybe you can put it in presentation mode because we can see.
Aren't you seeing the same as me?
We are looking.
yeah,
The whole program, not the presentation mode.
I'm the one sharing the presentation actually.
Yeah, because I am. Zoom is saying that I am sharing, so
okay.
Yeah,
I think there's two people sharing at the same time.
Okay, sorry. I think it was my mistake. Oh, apologies. Now we can see it perfectly. Sorry.
Yeah, Zoom. I don't use Zoom, so I have no idea how it works.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm still looking your screen, and just the whole program, not the.
Yeah, you can click on the
slide presentation button.
Yeah, on the bottom of your screen of your PowerPoint.
Yeah,
have.
but it says I'm sharing. Zoom says you are sharing screen. Stop. So I'm a bit confused what you mean.
No, you are sharing, it's fine, but we cannot see the presentation mode that is linked to the PowerPoint application, let's say. So you have to
because
click.
I'm seeing it's presented, so I don't know. I don't know what to do actually, because when I'm clicking on presenting, I'm
That's
presenting. So I
there.
click
Yeah,
there where you were
click again.
before. Yeah, maybe.
Now.
So it's not working. Maybe do you have two screens maybe?
No, I'm on
Sometimes
a laptop in a hotel room, so I don't have multiple screen. So I will stop sharing again. Because I don't know how to.
Yeah. I understand.
If I just share my entire screen then, and then just go like this and go like this.
Yeah.
Now,
now
yes.
Can you see?
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I need a refreshing in Zoom, I think.
Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay. Why do hydrogen skills matter? Well, for the green transition, basically. You have talked a lot about it, so I will not repeat all the political strategies and remarks because I think you have discussed it a lot. One thing I would like to point out with hydrogen. So hydrogen is a gas for those people who doesn't know, and it's used for fuel on cars and trains and on boats. And especially, as I will share with you, it's for the Westland country, it's used to mainly in the maritime sector. One thing I would like to point out, which is much more important and becomes more important, is the geopolitical situation, and also important that we have energy security in Europe, and also that hydrogen can be stored. And also, along with other things, if you have batteries, we also need to have that stored in case we go into a geopolitical situation like we have now in the Middle East, where oil prices are going crazy and we need kind of a more sustainable way of adjusting our energy here in Europe. So hydrogen could be one of the solutions that could provide energy to which can be stored to ships and to other factories or other things like that. So that's a very point that I would like to share. And also we also need many European projects to accomplish this, because we need to do this together across Europe, because we need to have, it's the same market, we need the same, a lot of the same skills are needed, and also our understanding is very important also on standards, mostly on standards, security, safety, and etc. I would like to provide you with one example, which is hydrogen in a port. Because this is an example from our region, which are going to produce hydrogen at the port, and they're going to use that hydrogen to put on the boats as refueling and bunkering. And then you can think about how many skills are needed for the people who are going to work at the port, on a ship, for doing the refueling, security, etc. It becomes a lot of skills that you need. Also, think there are also rules on land, and we also have rules on the sea. There are different rules, also international rules. And all of these things play into the big picture on what should people who are going to work in this arena or in this theater know. And what is good and what is bad, that is also up to discussion, and what is good enough. So there is a lot of layers here, and this creates it very interesting, but also a bit complex. And who is going to provide this kind of training? Should it be the businesses? Should it be the vocational school? Should it be the university? Which level should it be on? Etc. But this is just an example from what's happening in our region, that things that we need to provide, and also to have very close cooperation with this port. And this port is also part of our consortium, so we are very, very lucky. So they give us very hands-on information so that we can provide the right courses to them. So this is the list. Which we did a lot of research into our different regions, and this is on the different levels, what kinds of needs that we are actually looking for. And one point, which I have learned here in Portugal, is that yes, hydrogen isn't something just for itself, because many of these skills are also needed in other sectors. Like engineers, for example, is a very common example. Everyone wants an engineer. The oil sector wants an engineer. We, as in hydrogen, wants an engineer. So it's difficult to get engineers with the right skills, because they are easily just going into other jobs or something like that. So all of these things is not just for the hydrogen sector, they're also for other sectors, which means there is a lot of competition on the skills needed in the green transition as well, for wind and for all of this. So we have to be very aware of that when we are educating people with the information about hydrogen, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will go into a hydrogen job or something, because they might job in the gas sector or something else. We hope, of course, they will go into hydrogen and work with that, but it's not guaranteed. It's just my point around skills, that skills are not always directly to hydrogen. What can we do? We are going to create vocational courses and training modules, and we also are going to create a regional network and a European network as well. Why do we need that? Well, of course, we as educational providers cannot do this just themselves. We need input from the businesses, of course. So they need to be in a network where we can share our experience to make sure that we have the most updated courses and training material as possible. I think that's very logical. I see around the time is fleeing, so I will go very quickly. This is our goals, and I can see they are very ambitious. And I would like to point out one thing here. It's that we are focusing also for the people who are outside the workforce. This is a very important group of people. So in many of our regions, for example, in Estonia, we have people from the gas sector or coal who are going out of the coal sector, and they need to go into another sector. But that transition is easy to say, but it's very difficult for them to do, because what kind of jobs are there and it's that they can go into? How can we help them go from one sector to another one? But we also have immigrants, for example, immigrants who have the right, who are an engineer, but they can't find any job in their own country because of language skills, or perhaps there are some minor qualification that doesn't fit the job. So there are all of like problems around this, but it's a big group, and we need this kind of group in our green transition. So that we are addressing that in our project is, I think, is a very good contribution. Yes, these are all of the partners. They are hubs, educational institutions, businesses, and regional governments like us. And this is the gang. So behind each project manager, there are like hundreds of people working very hard to make sure that we are providing the right skills for the future. And this was a visit we had in Bolzano in the Brenner Pass, for those who know geography well, and looked at the hydrogen facility there. I cannot stress enough dialogue with regions, dialogue with people, to make sure that you are updated and get the right information directly from businesses. It's hard, but it's a hard job as well. It's hard to get businesses because they are very busy. They have a lot of their agenda, and they need really to prioritize. But we try very hard to fit in where we can and get their feedback. Yeah, we are also growing a bit of a network. This is other European initiatives and some businesses that also provides us with a lot of information. This is our webpage. You can read more about it, our project there, and what we are doing. And please follow us on LinkedIn for more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gate, for this talk. This initiative is really, really impressive and very ambitious, as we can see how many goals you want to reach with this COBE project. And now I would like to open the session for questions, if there is any question. Yeah. On the chat they say, I don't have a question about this COBE project, but this is truly inspiring. Congratulations. I think the same, as I'm a teacher, this is truly inspiring, and I would like to know about the courses, because you said the idea is to create more than 25 formal courses, right? Are these like long courses, or more focused on reskilling, short courses for adults and reskilling, or formal courses?
So there are courses on different level. So there are on, I would say, lower vocational or technical vocational level. We have it in higher vocational level as well. So there's different levels, but we also have it to different groups. So part of all of those courses are, some courses are directed to teachers, for example, train the trainer. It's important that teachers are getting, and that's very short, because to take a teacher out of his teacher position and into a long formal course, no. Just try it.
Not
I promise
possible.
you will get a lot of trouble, and the teachers and the schools will be very angry with you. So it's a very short introduction to hydrogen, so they can use in the chemistry courses, or because we are thinking hydrogen in a wider sense, not in a very small sense. So if you have some, if you're a student and you as part of your chemistry course have a little bit more about hydrogen than you did before, we have succeeded. Just to put it on that level, very small level. But we also have more vocational in the maritime sector, perhaps doing more technical things. There is a more wider, and then you have for students who have full course as well. So it's on different level, and they are on different magnitude or credits, to say it that way. So we are trying to offer it to a very wide audience.
A very wide,
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Yeah. More questions? No questions. So thank you very much, God, for this amazing presentation and amazing initiative. I hope you will have a lot of success. Okay, so let's move to the next speaker. Alicia, if you can share the general presentation, I will present the next speaker. She is from Catalonia. Her name is Marta Estrada. Now we will share her CV, but I can already say that Marta is a chemist that now it's working in a Escola del Treball, that is one of the most important schools that we have in Catalonia. The Escola del Treball is just for vet studies, and it's a really large school here in Catalonia, and it has a lot of studies about different sectors, but they have the energy and chemistry sector. And inside this sector, Marta will talk about different initiatives that Escola del Treball is leading. Okay, there is two different projects that are related with the Ministry of Education and Energy of Spain, and also they have a very interesting initiative where a vet provider, Escola del Treball, is how to say, is collaborating with different universities to implement a course of hydrogen inside a vet schools, but also with university students. Okay, so with further ado, I will give the voice to Marta. Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Oscar. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
what? Yes.
It's waiting.
yeah,
Moment.
it's just now. I think now it's
Now is
already. Yes.
yes. Okay. Thank you, Oscar. My name is Marta. I am from Barcelona. Actually, I work as a teacher in Escola del Treball. In these minutes, I would like to explain the role of hydrogen in vocational education and training. I will start to the brief introduction of the Escola del Treball. The Escola del Treball to Barcelona is in the center of the city. The originals of the Escola del Treball go back to the time of the Industrial Revolution in Catalonia. A new economy and a new society need qualified workers, as well as qualified engineers. Barcelona was a pioneer industrial city and it had to be competitive in European markets, and now uniquely positioned to train the workforce for the Europe's green energy revolution. In 1868, the Barcelona provincial government established a school for workers, the premises of the Universitat Industrial. In 1914, the president of the Mancomunitat de Catalonia, Enric Prat de la Riba, inaugurated the school. The enrolled students were 249 mechanics, carpenters, electricians, chemistry, and other industrial specialties. In 1928, Albert Einstein visited the school. Then were over 800 enrolled students. In 1928, the first building became small, and the government ordered the new building by noucentist architect Joseph Goday. In 1931 and 39, during its dictatorship, Franco visited the school. At the same time, the school was a secret meeting place for the student and workers' resistance. In 1977, after the recovery of democracy and autonomy, the Escola de Treball was ruled again by the autonomical government of Catalonia. Actually, is the biggest post-obligatory education school in our country. When the noucentist architect Josep Godoy elaborated this building with modern materials such as plaster, graffiti, bricks, stained glass, iron, and mosaic. In these pictures, we can see the hall, the library, and the Carmelo Gomez Hall. On the walls of the main hall, we can find the mural displaying the school's emblem and the motto Labor Prima Virtus, and the same work is the first virtue. Currently, in the school has more than 3,000 students, 218 teachers, and 20 administrative and support staff members. Vocational training programs are offered in 11 different professional fields and at all educational levels. Basic vocational training programs, BFE, intermediate vocational training, higher vocational training, and specialization courses. Among them, in the university master program in hydrogen master. This inter-university master degree in vocational education and training and hydrogen technologies is an educational initiative promoted by the Pretonor Repsol Group and designed and endorsed by 5 universities. Several vocational education and training centers and research institutions are involved in the organization for the practical components. The main objective of the master program is to train professionals in the different technologies related to the entire hydrogen value chain: generation, storage, transport, distribution, conversion, and industrial and energy applications. The master programs is aimed at professionals interested in training in hydrogen technologies and their application and specialization aligned with European decarbonization strategies and the growth of the hydrogen industrial sector. 4 editions of the master programs are already being completed successfully. The Chemistry and Renewable Energy Department of the Escola del Treball has been participating since 2021 in the ELECT project promoted by the Ministry of Education together with other vocational training centers. The project establishes the challenges and training materials to help explain the use to hydrogen as an energy carrier, addressing the need for decarbonization and energy independence from the fossil fuels. On the road flop of the Escola del Treball, we have a photovoltaic panels that supply power to a 1 kilowatt electrolyzer. With this electrolyzer, we demonstrate how green energy and previously tractor-made water can be transformed into hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen is then stored in a tank in a pressure of 6 bars. In the full didactic electrolyzer, we can observe the primary water tank, ion exchange columns, and the reverse osmosis systems and an activated carbon filter. There is also secondary tank and a header used to raise the water to the operating temperature. At the core of the electrolyzer, there is a stack composite of 5 electrolytic cells connected in series when the electrolysis reaction takes place. The hydrogen produced leaves the system with a moisture and paste through the filter that removes the water. The dry hydrogen is then stored directly in the tank. All of these processes are controlled by a PLC, which allows us to monitor and adjust the main operating parameters of the system. As part of this project, an inter-school challenger was organized involving students from the 4 participating vocational training centers. During this activity, the students carried out the polarization curve analysis at different operating temperatures in order to determine with one matched the optimum working temperature specified by the manufacturer. In 2023, the same vocational centers, together with Fundación Hidrógeno Aragón, participate in the second edition of the ministry project through the FC2 Teach initiative. Within project, we develop teaching materials and laboratory activities to explain how hydrogen can be used to generate electric energy through a fuel cell. A demonstration model has to be developed to visually explain the conversion of the hydrogen into energy. Using these models, the students can be observed each of the individual components of a fuel cell, as well as the balance of plant system required to the proper operation. The design of balance plan required to carry out this conversion has enabled participant centers to develop a highly visual practical activity. This activity allows the students to better understand one of the applications of hydrogen as energy carrier in the field mobility. From the challenger in this project is convert the hydrogen bike electrical in a hydrogen bike to hydrogen. Thanks to the results of the two ministry projects, we have been able to close the loop and develop a completely set of the teaching tools and educational materials. With the first project elect, we focused on the producing hydrogen from renewable energy and water, storing the hydrogen generated. Then, in the second project, we use that hydrogen in the fuel cells to produce electrical energy with water and the only byproduct. At the Escola del Treball, thanks to all materials, we have been able to develop an optional module of hydrogen technologies for students in the higher vocational training programs in industrial chemistry and renewable energy. This module provides the students with skills and knowledge in the energy technology, responding to the needs and demands currently coming from industry. In conclusion, these projects have allowed us not only to understand hydrogen technologies from the theoretical perspective, but also to apply them in real education environments through practical and collaboration activities. By connecting renewable energy, hydrogen production, storage, and fuel cell applications, we are preparing our students for the technological and industrial challenges of the energy transition. At the Escola del Treball, we believe the vocational education will play a key role in training the future professionals who will help build a more sustainable and decarbonized society. Thank you very much for your attention. That's all.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much, Marta. I think your talk was also very inspiring because we can see how schools actually now are leading this transition to the clean energy sector. And it's also very interesting because, as you mentioned, Escola del Trabalho, it's very old and has seen I probably Escola del Trabalho. If you see the history of Escola del Trabalho, you can follow the history of the energy sector. So we can see how an very old school can transform and can adapt to new sectors. This is very, very interesting. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Questions? Now we open the time for some questions. Is there no questions? Not in chat? No? So again, thank you very much, Marta, for this talk. I hope it will be inspiring for other regions to start giving their courses in hydrogen sector. Thank you very much. So
Thank
we
you.
move to the next speaker. She is Lena Mueller, and she is a project manager in the Baden-Württemberg region for the automotive sector. So she will give us a talk about the battery sector that it's also included in our sectorial webinar for clean energy. So please, Lena, start your presentation. We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you. So we are already on my last slide. So maybe you can jump to the first one. Thank you. Yes, perfect. So yeah, I'm first of all delighted to be part of today's webinar and also to contribute to this important discussion. And in my session now, I would like to focus on a key challenge, but also opportunity for the European battery industry. And that is the question of how can we ensure that the workforce has the right skills to drive innovation and to meet the growing demands of the dynamic battery sector. So and upskilling are, of course, essential to building a competitive and sustainable battery ecosystem in Europe. And even though we have seen many challenges in the ramp up of battery factories in Europe, especially in Germany now, we can still see that the debate has very much shifted towards the importance of resilience and sovereignty of a European battery industry. So it is important, even though we have seen challenges in building up these large gigafactories, we still see that it is very necessary that we have a battery value chain here in Europe. And therefore, of course, we also need a skilled workforce. So you can jump to the next slide. I have brought you a very quick overview of where I'm coming from and also why we are working so intensively on the topic of qualification in the battery industry. So I work in Stuttgart, Germany at eMobile BW, which is the state agency for new mobility solutions and automotive. So we have established several clusters and networks, and we are a direct subsidiary to the state of Baden-Württemberg. So we have different ministries in our supervisory board, and therefore it makes us the center of excellence for new mobility solutions and the automotive industry. To the next slide. That's also interesting maybe to see, because if you're not familiar with our region, there's a key fact, and that is that every 10th job in our region depends on the automotive industry. So the region is, of course, home to world famous companies like Mercedes-Benz and Porsche, and it's also a hub for innovation and research in the automotive industry. And the automotive industry for us is the most important employer, with almost 500,000 people working in the entire sector. And suppliers and manufacturers make up for the largest proportion of employment in this field. So this is, of course, a good status quo, but it's also a status quo that we would very much like to maintain. And there comes the challenge of a drivetrain, which is now shifting from combustion to electric. And with this, along all the skills of the workforce are also shifting accordingly. So you can see on the next slide that we have recently seen major investments in the German battery cell production and the European battery cell production, of course. But it's also very important for us that we need the workforce to go along with this shift. So one chance is for sure the battery industry that now needs a lot of skilled labor from the automotive industry to succeed. And for this transformation to happen, actually, we need, of course, constant learning and flexible adaptation to new conditions. And knowledge here, of course, is the crucial resource. Okay, maybe you can go back to the slides.
1 second, because someone wrote me, because maybe Marta was still sharing and there is, okay.
Okay, now it works.
Okay, but it should be fine. Okay, so go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. So yeah, we have to make the workforce get the right skills to go along with this shift towards the battery industry. And for industrial employees working in production, but also for specialists in the field of research and development, there are significant changes in the required skills. So first of all, we see manual tasks that are increasingly being replaced by monitoring and control tasks due to automated production techniques, but also things like 3D printing and the use of robots and intelligent automation systems. So this means that I need more knowledge in monitoring and maintaining machines, as well as in quality assurance. And also the fields of electronics and electrical engineering are playing an important role. What you also increasingly need, regardless of the battery, are IT skills and an in-depth understanding of software-defined architectures. So software is clearly moving to the forefront, And also the topic of data analysis is becoming very relevant, especially in the digitalized battery cell production. So in other words, a clear signal is that the existing skilled labor force needs to be adapted. And we have on the next slides some key fields of action that this requires. So you can jump to the next slide. First of all, of course, retraining of the existing workforce becomes very important, and offering training for employees who want to step into that new industry. But equally important it is that we make the battery profession more attractive and also make young people enthusiastic about MINT degree programs and training in the battery industry, because we have seen shrinking numbers of students applying for a MINT degree program in VET, but also in higher education for the past 10 years. So this is also a key field of action for these new green skills to be developed. And now I have brought you 2 initiatives that we have launched to tackle these fields of action. And I'm actually very happy that my colleagues from the Gothenburg region are also present, so they will give you more insights into how this looks like in practice in some minutes. We have launched a regional initiative, which is called Qualibat BW. It's a federally subsidized project about qualification for the battery ecosystem in Baden-Württemberg. So what we do is that we aim to provide especially small and medium-sized enterprises with a broad range of free training courses. So you can simply book a course online on our website, and we cover topics along the entire battery value chain. So from cell chemistry to recycling, but also you get in-depth insights into digitalization and attached fields. So the qualification requirements were determined in a needs analysis with around 70 companies to make the program really relevant for the industry. And we have project partners from research institutes and universities who have many years of expertise in the battery sector, as well as 2 educational institutes. And they have developed the learning units for us and are now also teaching them to the people. So these learning units provide a great opportunity for companies to acquire the latest state-of-the-art research for their employees. And the next project is Voltage, and we are very happy to be part of that because it matches very well with the initiative that we had already launched on a regional level, and it offers us the possibility to integrate this into the European sphere. So Voltage is another battery qualification project, and it aims to build a skilled workforce for the future of the European battery sector. And it especially focuses on innovating vocational education and training for the battery sector. So it is an Erasmus Plus project with 14 project partners from Sweden, Portugal, Turkey, Germany, and Finland. And what we do is, of course, we exchange a lot of ideas and develop innovative training approaches and a COVID platform in the end to attract young talent to the battery industry, but also to strengthen industry academia partnerships and to facilitate the knowledge exchange between education and industry. We also focus on teachers because we want to enhance teachers' competence, and we also want to promote innovation in vocational training and education, and by that support the development of a skilled workforce. So on the next slide, you see some examples of what we actually do. Of course, we want to attract young talent, as I said. So we, for example, produced films that picture job profiles who are now being established in the battery industry. And in each film, you can see a short version of the daily job of a young person who is now working in the battery industry. But we also conducted a battery camp for girls and invited them for 2 days at a research institute and a company to really experience the battery industry firsthand and to also get connected to some role models, especially female role models who are already working in this field. Then, as I said, we have the teachers and we invite them for train the trainers in the different regions so that they can enhance their competence and teaching battery skills in the future. And then, of course, there's a lot of knowledge exchange between education and industry in webinars, but also in roundtables in the different regions. And we go to many of the national and local events, but also on a European level, to really get in touch with the industry and learn about their needs so that we can adapt the WED programs to these needs. And I think this is it already from my side. So I'm happy to hand over to Gothenburg for the presentation of the Battery Center.
Thank you very much, Lena. This presentation has been also very interesting and focusing in another sector in clean energies, that is the battery sector. We can see that Baden-Württemberg is a very strong region that has really good initiatives in this sector. As you say, this is very linked with the following talk. So after some questions, we will move to the next speaker. But before of that, we can give the voice to our audience. If someone has a question, now is the moment.
I think there is no more questions, and maybe we can move because we are in a bit of time. So
Okay. So
they can have time to present.
perfect, Alicia. So we move to the last talk that will be a talk given by two different speakers. One is Hans Vogelberg, that is the team leader for electrification and industry development at the Västra Gotland region, and then Johan Bengtsson, that is the head of technology development of Gothenburg, and they will both give us a presentation related with the battery sector. So thank you very much for being here, and we hope that your presentation will be ready. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Lena. That presentation, I mean, one might as well exchange Germany and Baden-Württemberg for Sweden and Västra Götaland. Baden-Württemberg and Västra Götaland has for many years sort of recognized that the industry cluster and the challenges are very similar, and we have worked together. I don't think we have met before, as I know, but anyway, before Johan talks a little bit about the details of the battery center, I would just want to give you sort of an insight what type of context we have and the challenges that we see. Västra Götaland is a tech region, and it is a manufacturing region in Sweden. Geographically small, but in terms of industry imprint in Sweden, it's kind of large. There are, of course, other areas in Sweden with large industries. We have mining and we have steel, process industry in other areas. But when looking at manufacturing, it is, and of course, vehicle industry is the primary. Vehicle industry with supply chains, suppliers, both of components and at system level, but also chemical industry, refineries, paper and pulp, aerospace, defense, and it is also agriculture. I mean, not everything is industry. There's a lot of agriculture areas also. In terms of economy, Sweden is kind of peculiar in a way. I think we are having one of the largest sort of reliance on exports in our economy. So at the same time, we have manufacturing industry, we export. The home market is really small. So that is we are living with the global economy. We feel the global economy very, very quickly, you could say, often more quickly than a larger country. Manufacturing is important. It's like 10% also, manufacturing in Västra Götaland, so it's kind of similar as Baden-Württemberg. Also, what I think is similar in many countries, that workplaces is of course concentrated, but when you look at where people sort of live, they live distributed. So in terms of tax money and sort of reliance on or dependence on manufacturing, that is really spread out geographically, kind of evenly even. And the dependence is even if you look at the share of jobs in the municipality, it can be up to around 30% actually. So it is a large dependence. And in analysis, we saw that electricity is really electrification and vehicle industry is the key where the large changes will affect jobs. So next slide, please. Yes. I mean, in our sort of analysis, it is what is happening in China that will affect everything. China is leading green tech in all areas. And this, because of our economy sort of structure, it hits us harder than most countries, earlier and harder. So we have to live with that. There should be an arrow there between the discrete and process, an arrow to the right. So we are moving towards, I mean, from sort of discrete manufacturing to more process oriented. This is general, of course, you know it, but it needs to be pointed out. From horizontal integration in production to vertical, much more vertical than ever before. It's like Henry Ford style of era coming back 150 years later. That is interesting. And that has to do with product and production changing at the same time. So the result of that is vertical integration. Vertical integration means larger investments, much larger investments. Large investments mean need of state and aid, which Sweden is unfortunately one of the worst, we have a very weak system for state aid. And you also need public commitment, of course, to the green sort of. One thing that is underestimated is the need of electricity. You go from like 10 megawatt for an ordinary industry to 100 or 300, for example, as for a cell manufacturing site, or 1,000 as for an AI center. This is also happening now in Sweden. We have a huge amount of AI centers. And I mean, battery industries, we thought battery industry was a large consumer. And of course, refineries going to biofuels is a large consumer, but the AI centers sort of beating everyone. We do have a fossil-free electricity system, but we will need much, much more electricity in the future. So next slide, please. In terms of competence, this means that, yes, of course, we need to work with, this is my last slide, we need to work with sort of the baseline, the many process workers in the industry, but the key is actually domain knowledge and specialists. And I know that, so I work mainly in that area, you could say. The activities that we have is we have a project portfolio and do a lot of things, but competence mapping is one. We have a lot of R&D activities. We found infrastructure, for example, the e-motor development and battery. This is manufacturing development. We aid professional networks in strategic areas and of course the battery center initiatives that Johan is going to present. Please, Johan.
Yes. Thank you, Hans. I will share my screen. Yes. The Battery Center Gothenburg, it's an initiative from region Västra Götaland and the city of Gothenburg. and I work at Gothenburg Technical College, and we are running this center. And the background Hans has mentioned, and what's everything ongoing with electrification and digitalization in the automotive industry, and there's a need of competence. The center, we have different target groups that we meet in the center. Of course, a lot of people from the industry. It can be all kinds of people from the factories, but also from the R&D departments. Then we also do a lot of training in vocational training, upper vocational training. But we also meet compulsory school down to kindergarten. So you can say that the target groups are from small kids to factory management coming to the battery center of Gothenburg. And the investment is done by the city of Gothenburg and Region Västra Götaland, but we also collaborate with the public departments like Business Region Gothenburg and the Gothenburg region. So they're also important stakeholders in this. You can't run a center like this alone, so we collaborate, of course, with the automotive industries and the companies making battery cells, as well as the university, Chalmers, and research at RISE, Research Institute of Sweden. But we also collaborate with the different companies that are suppliers to the factories with components and robots and so on. I think you know both ABB and Siemens, for example. So they are good partners as well when we come to equipment in the center. And this is how it looks like. I will show you a film in a couple of minutes. It's 800 square meters of activities in new renovated facilities. And all the equipment in the centers is the concepts are developed by us. And this is the people who work there. I say that we're around 12 people that are active in the center, more or less. And these are the most important guys because these are the trainers that meets the people coming from the industry and meets the students from schools. So it's very important to have good trainers in the center. And what do we train then? Yes, this is a picture of the life cycle of battery, and we focus on the battery cell manufacturing and battery pack manufacturing. So those are the steps that we focus on, but we can talk about the whole life cycle we do, but the focus are on these process steps here. For us in the Västra Götalands region, this is actually new industry for us, new production methods that we had no experience of. So for us, it's been a lot of creating the knowledge about these process steps and then to learn others about how it works. So it's been, I could say it's been like a 4-year journey for us as well to learn more about the battery manufacturing process. And the center then, we say it's like a competence supply platform since we meet all these target groups. And it's also a fantastic surface for collaboration between schools and businesses and the companies. And we see it as a spot for the contribution of the sustainable development. So it's more than a training center, these 800 square meters. And important for us here is to make this experience-based. We know that so the target groups they can't sit like we do now and watch a PowerPoint. They won't learn anything. So we need to like have it experience-based, that like learning by doing. That's very important for us, and also with the target adoption. And as I mentioned before, the skilled trainers, they are very important, as well as the unique equipment that we have developed. And we also have an inclusive environment in the center. And we train, of course, safety. That's very important for battery industry, you know, and quality as well. The different product and process knowledge for the different steps as well, and tool and machinery, of course. And maybe one of the most important things that we got from the industry is to train behavior. way of working, follow standards, and so on. So training behavior has been very important for us. And to do this, we have created, you can say, like a learning factory with different activities. So this site, scenario-based industry training, is one learning factory where you can train different competences and, for example, soft skills like behaviors. So teamwork, of course, very important in this. You will see this in the film in a couple of minutes here. Skill training is another area that we train, and automation, of course. So this is the link for our webpage, and at the webpage you can find, if you scroll down here, you can find this film here, and I will show you this film, and this will end my speech. So yeah, have a look.
Innovation and development have always been part of Gothenburg and West Sweden, from shipyards and car manufacturing to life science and smart textiles. Now, the region is taking a major step in the green transition with an important investment in competence and sustainable production. Battery Center Gothenburg is one of Europe's most modern training centers. A place where people and industry meet to build the skills needed for the industrial technologies of the future. In an environment that mirrors a modern battery factory, theoretical knowledge is combined with hands-on training and experience-based learning. Here, participants learn how a battery is created from the ground up by practicing real-work tasks, solving problems, and developing soft skills. At the same time, automation and robotics are integrated, both of which play crucial roles in a high-tech industry. Battery Center Gothenburg is funded by the City of Gothenburg and Region Västra Götaland, and is the result of a close collaboration between the public sector, academia, and industry. In other words, a shared investment that honors the region's history and strengthens its future competitiveness.
So thank you.
Thank you very much, Johan. This both talks, Hans and Johan talk, has been very interesting and give us a very good introduction to this battery initiative. Thank you very much. So now it's time for questions. You can type your questions on the chat or just make your questions online.
There is no questions, but maybe if participants want, they can always reach via email, and also we have the contacts of the different projects. So they are thanking and clapping. So I guess it was really insightful, these presentations.
Yeah, I think this structural webinar on clean energies has been really interesting for all of us. It has presented very different initiatives in very different sectors, and from companies and from the vet providers. So also give us a different points of views on the sector. So this is really interesting. Yeah. And also, well, if this sector also give us the idea of that this is not only technological or industrial. No, it's also an academic problem. We need to create more skills and try to understand where is the gap and where those skills match on the labor market.
Mhm.
So thank you very much to all the speakers for having present their amazing talks, and we will welcome you to the next seminar that will be held during the following months around summer. So probably you will receive the invitation from Alicia. and you are welcome to visit us again. Alicia, do you want to go?
No, just that's all. That happy to have you all, and that we will be sending via email all the resources that the speakers have shared. And thank you so much once again for being with us, and to the speakers and the participants. Looking forward to be in touch.
Exactly. Thank you very much.